Oh, you found the first effective one?
Yes.
So it's this button here.
Oh, that thing blasts off, look at that.
It does, it's a little out there, but the flag is adorable.
Well,
That way your friends will see you before they blow you up with firecrackers.
Yeah, it would be very cute.
Love it. Does this come with a Xanax for my dog? Because that's what I think of as everybody shooting off fireworks.
I feel sorry for the dogs.
I do too.
They just don't understand.
Morning. Hi there. Oh, you're welcome. I felt like I didn't do much. I just kind of sat around and talked to people.
Well, that's good.
Did you get anybody else come by later?
Let's see,
I think I looked around noon.
Angela,
Oh, okay.
she came up, and then Connie,
Mm-hmm.
and Lisa Swan.
Well, that's a good crowd.
Yeah.
So what was your total for the donations for Ukraine?
Right now, there's 2 people that there's outstanding
Mm-hmm.
money, so we're at 493.
Wow. That's good.
That's pretty good considering all the treasure.
Treasures, yes. All the things that we helped
Oh,
move
and
out of your
I've
house.
got 2 journals
Okay, awesome.
in my office,
Okay.
because I was packing up on some.
To do another round of that at the end of the summer movie, but we're doing school supplies too, so.
Oh, that sounds good.
We can
Yeah.
have these things.
Weapons.
I like that journal.
How
thing.
much
I thought
further
that was
is
nice.
left?
It was fun.
None,
Okay.
it's all gone.
None of those.
There's actually one that's open.
So I thought you
And
were
do
funny
you know,
when I said, we'll argue about it tomorrow
this
later.
was
You're like,
the best
okay, brick
thing.
wall.
Brick wall,
We're
Christy.
using
I might be
it
on my
for
ear.
land.
So then if
And
you want help
What
with
a
this
great
28,
movie company
brick wall says-
experience so far. I
Okay.
haven't picked it
I
up,
appreciate it, haven't
and
told her yet,
Angela
I
did it,
don't know if she
but
knows I'm
you
not
saw
gonna
my
be there.
I
dad's
still have some
marine
sneaky
mark on the
options that I haven't
floor.
told you about.
And
We'll
he
see if I
goes,
can-
are you a
Yeah.
veteran? I
You
said,
deserve
no,
it.
my
I mean,
dad
you
was
guys
in
have
World
been
War
good.
II.
Well, you're just the
And they gave
ones.
us
You were just
a
paying for
veteran
what is.
discount.
Oh, wow.
Doing it.
Oh,
But you did, you
10%.
did, you had to deal with
That's
amendments
nice.
and stuff and.
Yes,
It's all
and
done okay.
what's
Wendy was
cool
very nice. It's like,
is,
I felt like,
he
ask her to
goes,
take a picture
no,
of
we
this. Ask her
don't
to
move
take a picture of that. I'm
you
like, give me your
pay,
minute.
you
Like,
pick
what
up
else do
that
I need to interrupt with
posting,
after
you
she's
get
right?
rid of it. And then it
Well,
works.
honestly, before I left was a little
We
weary
did
of
it
like,
first
I wasn't
time.
gonna be there, so I didn't know how she would be.
I was worried.
haven't really spoken with her much since then, when she asked me
And
what
brought
else she
us
needs to
news
do.
boxes and wrapping
She still hasn't
stuff,
done her
because they
utility sheet,
unwrap for
but they
people
just
and
did
then
her up
bring
for
it
that
back.
again. I don't know what's going on with closing. I know they're having turnover, but like I
So
haven't
sorry,
heard
so if you ever
anything,
have
no one's
clients,
checked in on anything,
you know,
there's no
then
closing
probably
scheduled yet, I'm like,
you know,
hi.
local,
So I reached out to Heather and she said her email
but
system was
going
down yesterday, but I'm
the
like,
distance.
can we do something? Because now there's
break
like, we're getting
company.
close, I need to
And
check in
they
with
were the only
Wendy,
ones
but I
that
don't wanna do it
came.
until I have more
She
information.
came with a
Because
So-
when she did this
sign
on
on,
her first one, oh, she's in the
Burger
serious.
Sandwich
But then
card,
she was
with
like,
a
oh,
card,
to get there for the kids.
and then we get version, the
Yeah.
rest of them making
She's just a little-
videos and all.
She's a little quirky, but
North
yeah, I don't know, she's gone again, so whatever, she's fine, she'll close
What was
and
the
then we'll get
company?
done.
No,
As long as
I'm
her
very
AC,
happy.
my
So
only
I'll
fear is her
bring it
AC
up
will fail
today.
before closing,
Because
No,
and then
no,
But I wouldn't
I
have
know.
any problem
Because it's
referring people,
struggling, so
especially
it's
if
working
you've got
though,
So I mean, one of my buyers, she just had something like she had service and
or
stuff.
long distances.
Oh, please.
So how many people did you
in
interview?
failed to get, because I'm bouncing to
And,
different listing
they're the
coordinators,
only ones
and
that
they
committed,
used to automatically
tractor
put the
trailer
warranty
truck.
on the listing, and
because one
So we
said
didn't
we'll
get that
bring a
first, and I'm
box
like, oh,
truck
God.
at 26
Which one do you
feet,
use?
and
I
I'm
know
like,
HMEA
my house is going in 26 feet.
And that happened to me before,
Okay.
And
Michelle.
I was like, okay, well, I don't know
And
how
the
it's
stuff
automatic.
didn't fit and they had to bring another, but they couldn't bring another one on
But
the
it's
same
dead.
day.
Is
So it's
it for somebody else?
Right.
I have been using American Home Shield,
Right,
but
and there's
I was
a,
gonna try,
and I'll share it with you all, there
Choice,
is
and I
a
talked to Carrie while I was gone, I
government
panicked, like, oh
site
my God,
that
did you get
it
that on
will
there?
show you.
And then she's like,
kind of
there's already been
how
an
they-
inspection, I need to
And
report,
one
should
of the
it, so
companies
get
that
working order,
wanted
and I
to
didn't
move
know
us
that,
said,
and
oh,
that's
we go
last
up
week.
and down.
And that was said, we're not sure if it is.
Had 20
But Wendy said, look, I just had
trucks.
service in May.
So-
So she was, they changed it so far.
And I was in like
Something
4,600
updated.
something.
So,
So you can
fingers crossed
see,
that that's
so
the
that
only
you
last
don't
minute thing I
get
can see.
stuck. But I'm not.
But I will be available this time, I can, I'll have Wi-Fi and cell and all that.
Well, by the time Tuesday comes around, everything will be done. If you just
But
be
we
there,
but
but
there's two box
I
truck.
appreciate
She's very
it.
nice.
Exactly.
And I'll ask her, I'll just say, hey, Christy can attend with you if you'd like that, or I can be on Zoom with her, but I don't know if she'd rather have some.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the buyers are mail away, so
that's-
they're not even gonna be there,
North
yeah.
American Buying
Yeah,
Lines.
so she just
So-
wants
They
to
give
know,
you an
is my
estimate.
money gonna show up?
They
Exactly.
have to weigh
And
the
she's gonna get
truck.
the keys
They
and
give you the weight of the
visitors and all
truck.
that.
They have to
And,
wait before they go across
That's
state
it.
lines.
There's
And
not
over
even
the
a
other,
market.
is that okay with the other
For
client?
what?
that was including the warranty?
Good morning, good morning.
They're done, I'm just trying to help the property manage their phone because I'm not coming for, I don't know when they're coming.
I know,
I
I
went and checked on that.
But the other companies, we've never heard that part.
I know I had one gas company that came
So,
into the house, we
exactly.
weren't there, as long as we told them it was turned off. Still not
Very
fixed.
nervous, I know.
Good morning, how
Good
are
morning,
you?
everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Somebody give me some good news.
Oh, I'll start. No, you start. No, you start.
Susan, you start, Susan.
No, I meant to say it last week, it just escaped me, but I went to see Mo Anderson. And it was just so enlightening and, just so glad that I did not miss that.
Well,
That
that was
was-
amazing, wasn't
Yeah, she really was.
it? 85 years old.
I know.
Years young.
Years young, exactly right, Jeff. Again, when you get close to this age, hearing the years young, it's like, what's really pandering to me, or? Which one did they do? I can't think of it. It was a lady, wasn't she amazing?
Yes.
I got to spend some time with her one-on-one, and she was just like, wow, so much wisdom, so wise.
And so humble.
So what?
So humble and just down to earth.
Yeah.
For a lady who flew here in her own plane.
Very humble lady with her own plan.
Exactly, her own plane. So, and I don't let you tell me she does, she'll need to realize it's me. So I was saying, well, now, your schedule says, we'll put the flight at 3:30, I wanna make sure I honor that. And she said, my darling, he flies when I tell him to fly.
Oh.
In a much nicer way than that, but that was the best, like, when we get that, we fly when I get there, so. Thanks for mentioning that, too, appreciate it. All right, Ms. Michelle.
Oh, yesterday we had our fundraiser for Anya. I did a garage sale at my house with treasures, and we had a good turnout. So far, we're still got two contributions to come in. But
One's mine.
three contributions then to come in. We've raised $493 with just small treasures, nothing large. So thank you all for supporting that.
And thank you for being willing to take your treasures that you don't want to move. And that ain't what's the great thing. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
appreciate that.
And
Thank you for that.
thank you for Christy. She came at 8 a.m. and
That's just so I got
helped me
first
with-
dibs.
Yeah, we know about you, Chrissy.
She was instrumental in making it successful.
Anybody else? Anybody in TV land that wants to share something that's going good in their life right now? Yes, sir, Rusty.
I got to spend 7 glorious days with 12 family members. Everybody's still talking. We went to Beach House in Indian Rocks and just had a blast with my 5-year-old grandson. So it was a great week.
And what?
With my 5-year-old grandson.
Wow.
We had a great week, great week.
I've spent the last week with my 2 grandsons there in camp. And at the end of last week, I called them on the day and said, well, there's a next week also that's all about soccer. I'd like them to attend. Can they stay one more week? What do you think they said? Yes, yes. Take it 1 week. It's an adventure being my age and getting up in the morning like you moms do all the time. It's okay, guys, time to get up, get your clothes on, get showers, get some breakfast done. You gotta be out of this time, and they gotta be at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's an adventure for me. I'm doing what you all do all the time, guys. So it's an adventure. Good news is in this week. They'll go back home to visit mom and dad. But they want to come back though. Here we got it downstairs. Any other good news this year? Yes, sir, Jeff.
So, for Father's Day, I got a new daughter.
Oh,
My son got married on Saturday night,
oh my gosh.
and she's a lovely person, and they're just a great couple. So much of them dating each other for 6 years, so they kind of know. And they, there's so much in love. It was awesome.
Aw.
And I did not ask about grandchildren, but one of their friends, we were at this park for brunch, on Sunday, and one of their friends said, yeah, we've been pressuring them, they've gotta have a baby, because to be a play dates with our baby, right? So it's kind of like, so I'm hopeful.
The friends are pressuring them.
Because you can send them back to their parents. That's wonderful, that's great. But I will also tell you, being a grandparent is expensive. Yes. Because I haven't learned to say no to them yet, so. That's great. Anybody else have anything to share? Is anybody here for the first time that wants to introduce themselves? Please, yes.
Hi, everyone. I know a few of you have my card at this point. My name is Megan. I'm with Home Services of Atlanta, so we're part of the new Preferred Vendors program. What we do basically are general repairs, maintenance, anything that you need, like handyman repairs, carpet cleaning, painting, carpet replacement, drywall repairs. You can contact me. And I do have flyers. And I have cards.
Great. Welcome. We're glad. Do we
Thank
need anybody
you.
like that on our vendor list?
Yeah.
Yes, all the time. Absolutely, yes. Anybody else here for the first time? You want yourself, please, and yes.
My name is Lynette Cornelius, and I reached out, and this beautiful woman right here contacted me and invited me to come over today
Good.
to visit. I'm getting ready to take my test for after my 75-hour torture of classes, and get ready to take that this week,
Good for you.
and then go on for my license. And so I wanted to see what Keller Williams was about, so that I looked as a mother at realtors, brokers, and one of my friends, the guy that sold me my house here in Georgia, recommended that I check out Keller Williams.
Well, we're glad to check this out. So welcome.
Business
Anybody else?
everybody.
Anybody else here?
New,
Huh?
new agent.
I just joined. Ashlyn, John.
So welcome.
Thank
Yay. Okay, let us move on. I'm trying this last week to see. Guys, this is gonna be a new adventure for some of you. It's called Caravan. Back in the olden days when we used to have Caravan. So guys, just realize this, and so you get to have free lunch. Just show up and give them your card to get free lunch. Anyway, Paige is having this open today, Tuesday, June 21st. When summer starts today, walking out this morning early, it was not summer at all, felt very good. So anyway, it's you go there and help her look at the house and maybe have some suggestions. But it's 6 bedrooms and 3 half baths. And you can see today from 11:30 to 1:30. Please go by and help her out. There'll be some information on it on the website also. Not the website, but on email from her. All right, partners.
Carrie's on.
Carrie.
Hey, good morning. I know it says Cheryl King. I had to hop on her computer really quick, but it's actually me, Carrie Green, not Cheryl. Good morning and welcome to our new friends in the room. And speaking of CE credits, we have a class tomorrow at Galleria in the 200 building, and I'll send out the information again today. Just if you haven't RSVP'd, you still can. So the class is called Negotiate to Win, and we talk about different negotiating strategies in the current market. And obviously, you know that personalities of clients, along with sometimes their family, can dictate how we present things to them. So it's a really good class. It's a lot of fun, and it will, of course, be followed by a happy hour at Cinco right across the street. So the class is from 1 to 4, and then Cinco will be from 4:15 until 6:15. So, if you can come to one or the other or both, that's great. So we hope to see you guys there.
Thank you, Karen. What do you all do, Carrie?
We are your favorite preferred real estate attorney. So we handle closings for you guys, and we have offices there in your building at East Cobb. We have Woodstock, we have Galleria, Alpharetta, Blue Ridge, and Buckhead. So we're spread out all over town for you guys, and it's been great. We've been with this office since, I believe, 2006. So we've had a great relationship with y'all, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. We love everything you do for us. Thank you. You're a great partner.
We'll see you soon. Thanks.
See you later. Thank you. Okay, who's up now?
We are.
Come ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It was a hearty good morning. I feel
Good morning.
I feel so warm and welcome. I'm Reed Clark with Silverton Mortgage.
Danielle Delaney with Silverton Mortgage.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Ron.
Yep, guys, and these are on your desk. Supreme's gonna present the next 2 weeks, so we want to go ahead and get these out to you. So be careful with these if you're one of those people that have like psychotic events, because, you know, the strobe effect on here might do that for you. Don't look at it too closely. Then we want to get you those. Hope you enjoy them for Independence Day. And Daniel wanted to tell you about our 100%
Yeah, we have a
financing.
new program, FHA 100% financing. It's in-house underwriting, we can close in 30 days. What I like about this program is it's structured kind of like Georgia Dream, if you've all worked with Georgia Dream before, but it's better because we don't have to have underwriting through Georgia Dream, so we can close quicker. And like Georgia Dream, the 3.5 or 5% down is actually forgivable after a certain amount of years, like 5 years in the house. So there are a lot of details to it, but if any of you would like to talk about the program, I'd be happy to go over the details. We are seeing, you know, the market changing, higher interest rates, but I have a contract right now that has $9,000 of closing costs paid by the seller, and another contract that's at listing price. So for those first-time home buyers, that's good news, even though the interest rates are higher.
What is the rate on that?
It's like high sixes.
What's a 30-year running right now, conventional?
About 6. 5.875. Yeah, and I got a contract this week that had $8,000 seller paid, so there's a little bit of change going on. And I mean, I'm not gonna overstate that. You know, we're still way under inventory. But one thing I wanted to mention to you guys too, to think about, you know, and I'm sure you probably are 10 steps ahead of me on this, but you know, the difficulty with getting an FHA buyer with an offer accepted, and what's the pushback from a listing agent if you present an FHA offer?
Appraisal period.
No, any FHA.
Appraisal period.
Appraisal. So the problem is that they're afraid that if the house doesn't appraise, number one, they can't guarantee that the person's gonna cover an appraisal gap, right? And they know that they could stay in the contract and bail out late because the amendatory clause takes away the appraisal contingency verbiage that we normally would have. Have y'all thought about option money?
Yes.
For an FHA buyer that does have some money, maybe they're having to go FHA simply because of an old credit issue or something like that. Something to think about, because option money if you write it that way, I mean, it belongs to the seller either way. And so it does give a little extra reason for them to take another look at an FHA contract. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about too, I was conversing yesterday with an agent who used to be in this office, and I said, how's the market going? You know, how are you doing? She goes, you know, I'm just having a hard time telling my clients that they should buy right now. And I said, well, I understand that. I understand that feeling. And I said, but I respectfully, I think you need to work through that. I said, because your clients are thinking, oh, I'm gonna wait till the rates go down. And I would say to them, that's cool. Well, first of all, what if they don't? What if they're higher in the future? Wouldn't your client be glad they bought now? And the second part of that equation is, if they're right and rates are gonna go down, that's great. They'll get a chance to refinance. And I like what was it Courtney that said, no, it wasn't Courtney, it was a roofer named Paula Kellum, who's at the First Atlanta office. She said something about love the house, or marry the house, date the rate. I like that a lot, because that is the truth. Yes, rates are a little high right now, but if you're right and rates come down in the future, we will be happy to refinance the mortgage. Jeff, won't we, Danielle?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, my first house, again, you keep hearing this, but my first house was at 8.5, and that was in 1996. I know I'm a lightweight with my 8.5, because sister over here was at 14 something, right?
14 and a half.
14 and a half, and probably paid 2 points to get it. But here's the thing, in 1996, I was at 8.5. In 1999, I got to refinance down to 6.5. And then in 2001, I probably have my years wrong, I refinanced down to 5 and took a 15-year loan. Oh my goodness, I thought I had hit the jackpot. So that's part of the equation. And the other thing is to talk with the client, listen a little bit and find out what's your big why. Why do you need to buy a house? Okay, if you don't buy now, is it going to change? So there's a different conversation to get past that very normal emotional reaction that the client's going to have when you talk to them, okay, hey, Mr. Smith, you told me to follow up with you in 2 months, I'm calling you back. Well, you know, Rusty, we're gonna have to wait right now. With these rates the way they are and prices, we're just gonna wait. And I think that hey, I hear you, and that's certainly an option. Tell me what you're thinking. And I think sometimes the more people think, the incorrect views and the incorrect thoughts that are being driven by emotion, you might be able to help them to realize that it's not a logical decision to make. Now, if you flat out can't afford a house, that's a different thing. If you're going to have to stretch to 50% of your income and get 2 co-borrowers and be able to buy, maybe it is better to wait until your financial situation changes. But I don't think it's necessarily we should wait because of where interest rates are or where the price of houses are in our area, because none of us see that really changing dramatically. So anyway, tomorrow we're going to have a little scripts class. Authorine's put that together, so if you'd like to be there tomorrow, is it 8 or 8:30? Do you remember?
8:30.
8:30. I'd love for you guys to be a part of that, where we just talk about this. Be ready how to answer those clients when those objections come up.
Are you recording that?
Or zooming it?
I don't think it is going to be Zoom, but I'll find out
Okay.
and let you know.
And if not, could you give us some talking points afterwards that we can all
Absolutely
share?
will. Absolutely will.
Yeah, and if any of these things that we're talking about are unfamiliar to any of you, I'd be happy to sit down and talk one-on-one or, you know, with a group, to go over the lending process and the way that all these programs work.
What I want to do on this, guys, is put together a little bit of a flow chart, like a decision tree, like if, yes, no, then it goes to this, because I think there is some real logic. And we're not trying to convince people to do something they ought not to do. That's the last thing any of us are going to do as ethical people. But we are going to try to help them see through the emotional aspect of the decision they may be making. So, thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Reed. And then my 39 year in real estate, I've never had one person, I'm sorry I bought a house. Ever. I wish I had not bought a house back then, I should have waited. So guys, when should you buy a house? Today. Actually, when we bought one, they were 14.5%. And the cost of living was higher than it is now, so that's, I mean, really, it's all perspective. Okay, thank you, our wonderful sponsor, Mirrors and More. Come on up, this is you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Good.
So I brought Chick-fil-A, honestly.
Let's give a hand for Chick-fil-A.
It really wasn't for you, it was for me. I get points for it, so I eat breakfast for free all week, I love it. So, I guess you say, my name's Kobe, I work for a glass company out of Kennesaw, Glass Mirrors and More. We do most things with glass, but I would say primarily for realtors, it's trifold. Number one, 9 out of 10 jobs we do that we're referred to by a realtor, it's window glass replacement. So a broken window, fog window, cracked window, something like that. We'll come out, measure it, so give you a quote, typically on the spot. We make most of our insulated units in-house, so our turnaround time can be faster than anybody. Give me a call on that regard. We can definitely hook you up. But my big promise to you guys is if I can't fix it, I'll find somebody that can. I don't know if you guys know Dennis O'Reilly, but he referred a client to us, and it was back and forth craziness. But we got it done at the end of the day, right? So, we try to do our best to be part of your team. So we understand as realtors, you guys need a big team, to get the job pushed through, right? You need lenders and even if it comes down to contractors and stuff like that, it's important to have us, right? So we want to be on your team. And one way that we do that is we have a thing called a loyalty program. Have a sign-up sheet in the back. If you'll just give me your name and your phone number, I'll go ahead and throw you into our system. That way, whenever you call or you refer a client and the client calls and mentions your name, they're going to receive a discount. And the discount, obviously it varies between what type of job it is. But it is significant, and I think it's probably good for you guys to have that tool in negotiation, especially, you see houses with 20, 35 windows. A window company might come in and it's 20, 30 grand. But if replacing the glass is an option, which I would say 85% of the time it is, it's always going to be cheaper, it's always going to be faster. Right? So I will love to send you guys window companies to get a quote, and then we'll come out and get a quote, and it'll make you really happy. Okay, so my phone number is here. This is my work phone number. Back there on the sign-up sheet, I have my cell phone number. If you guys have any questions after this that maybe you couldn't think of, give me a call. But coming back to what we do real quick. Windows, shower doors, mirrors, storefronts. Pretty much anything that isn't on your car. You get it done. Any questions?
Any questions at all? It's nice to have a vendor like this on this, isn't it?
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I'm going to bring us Chick-fil-A. I mean, okay. All right, Y4C2Ts, okay, guys? This is our belief system. This is where we live. And guys, if you've ever been in a company where they don't do it this way, where they don't think win-win, and sometimes they don't always have the best customer service, they don't always work together as a team, guys. It's nice to know that this office does that, okay? All right, so let's see, your favorite one today. Who am I gonna pick on today? I will pick on today, Yvette. Which is your favorite one today?
Well, I love all of them, but the one that I would like to go with is creativity.
Okay, all right.
Because of the time of market that we are living at this moment, we have to be more creative. Yes, thank you. And then not only that, but we have to encourage those kind of ideas and actions according to our clients' needs. So, yeah.
You said that beautifully, and no one's picked creativity in a long time. Yvette, way to go. Cool. What's creativity in Spanish?
Ser creativo.
Ooh, everybody said that together. Very good. Guys, I haven't followed that in a while. Ideas before results. So guys, if you're doing the same thing over and over and over, it's not working, you may want to try something a little bit new, guys. But creativity, that is absolutely fabulous. Thanks for picking that one, Yvette. That was a good one. Thank you. Mortgage Rates Power Up, hosted by Reed Clark. He was telling me about this, and Danielle, on Wednesday, June 22nd, which is tomorrow, in Lee General at 8:30. Please come. Donuts. Donuts?
Probably, actually, the one over on 5, my favorite, then now I just drew a blank on. What's the name? Ray's, thank you.
Ray's, great.
We do have confirmation that the class is in person only.
In person only, gotcha.
That's us.
Guys, one of the best things about our office is that we teach every single day. The best thing is that. The worst thing is that we teach every single day. It's hard to keep up with what we're doing, guys. So we're working on a better way to let you guys know. Because I told a couple of you all when you came to me and said, well, Jim, there's not enough of this. And I go, well, we have that class here. And you go, oh my God, I didn't even know that. And Kimberly, you sent it out several times. So guys, we gotta figure out a different way to get this stuff to you. Command your campaigns, emails. Talk about our own Kevin Jackson. Guys, if you're not using this, guys, it is amazing. Please use it. So guys, on command, and Kevin will teach you how to do it. Power Day. Now guys, you know, one of my dreams is that people would go, dang, I should come to Power Day, because every time I come, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it, but I forgot about that customer, that client, and guess what? They're selling 2 houses. I didn't know it. I called them that day. So guys, every time we do this, guys, it works. People that come go, I'm so glad I did this, and I was able to get to my client base and do something that I'm not regularly doing. So guys, this is going to happen from 8:30 to 1. It's going to be called the Power Day of June 27th, and we're going to bless you. Exactly right. We're going to get, because I would love, Jim's dream would be that this room and one downstairs will be packed with people coming in to power up and get their business going. Guys, if you do this, I promise you will lead with listings, you lead with buyers, guys. In order to do this, Jim's going to put a little money there, which I don't mind doing. How? Well, I'm glad you asked. Everyone who comes to Power Day will win $5. You'll get $5 just for showing up, guys. So you're going to make money just to show up for this thing. Okay, we're going to pay you to come. Stay all day, and then we enter into a drawing to win 5 or more, maybe $100 bills. So we're going to give away money. If you invite a co-op agent to say, come, get your business jump started, come and call your database. Guys, then you'll get them. We entered in there for 4 more times. So you have a better chance to win $100. So plus we'll feed them healthy breakfast and lunch, and I'll work on the healthy part. We're gonna feed you breakfast and lunch, okay, guys? Anyway, as an elite general room, please come to that, guys, because it will get your business jump started. It'll get you jump started no matter where you are in your business cycle, guys. Get it done. It should be a fabulous June. More to come about the 27th. Okay. Zoom Career Day.
Once again, we're doing it every 2 weeks. Build your downline, let us have, the name, address, or email address and telephone number of someone that you think would be a great fit with Keller Williams. We'd love to include them in Zoom Career Day. It's an hour worth of time where they learn really what they're gonna be doing, that it's not just, a lot of people don't know what we do, and we work hard, and we tell them we work hard. So the people that go through that then are eligible to go into K-Score, which is our licensing scholarship. It is at no cost to them, so that's the first part. But what we do want to do is make sure that people realize how hard you all work, and whether they join in or not, at least next time they'll know you really, really spent a lot of time and effort with them. So let us do it and send me those, and we'll have it on Thursday.
That's great, Michelle. Thank you for doing that, guys. We certainly are getting into business with a lot of great people that want to come do that. Branding your business, group coaching, Wednesday, the 29th from 11 to 12. Come find how to brand your business. Maybe your business is a little bit stale, you need to brand it a little bit differently, so come and find out on the 29th.
Who's teaching?
I don't know, that's a question. Do you know, Kimberly?
What time was that, Jim?
Oh, it's Brenda Bushner. 11 to 12.
11 and 12 on the 29th. But someone that has branded it, in fact, I did see it on.
Isn't it Brenda Bushner?
Brenda Bashara, thank you. Yeah, Brenda. And boy, does she know how to do that, guys. So that's exciting. So Brenda Bashara here to teach you how to brand your business, guys. You're gonna do it. Okay, trivia night. Christy, or no, Liz, tell us about it. What are you two?
So we're having
Somebody.
trivia night on July 23rd. Patty Jackson's house. We're starting at 6:30, so 6:30 will be just kind of hangout time, right? And then we're starting trivia at 7:30. No, that's changed.
You're
Trivia
right.
starts at 6:30.
No, you're right. That was old flyers.
Oh, okay.
Trivia starts at 7:30.
Okay, so trivia will start at 7:30, so you can come at 6:30 and kind of hang out and chat and prepare with your teams, and it's gonna be very fun. So I missed it last year, but it sounds like it was amazing.
Fabulous last year.
Yeah.
It was fabulous last year, guys.
There'll
It
be
was a really
prizes
fun
and all
night.
of that, so so come to that.
And BYOF. Bring your own fan.
Yes.
Actually, BYOB also, I think. So anyway, that's gonna be fun. Okay, Michelle.
This was a great outcome that I'm going to tell you. How many of you all have worked with buyers or have a seller, but worked with buyers primarily, that got the notice that the seller decided they didn't want to sell? Has it happened? Okay, it's happened. Has anybody had a seller that said, oh, we're under contract, but I'm not going to sell? Okay, so that's happened. So we had that happen last week, and it was interesting. Can the seller just decide not to sell? Sure. I mean, they could, but can they legally decide not to sell?
No.
So this seller did not show up at closing. The buyers went to closing, and then they sent, after closing, I don't think that they realized it didn't matter, a unilateral termination and that they were giving the earnest money back to the buyer. Big of them, big, but that wasn't so good. Why can the seller not do that?
They contractually obligated themselves to sell houses.
That's right, and they don't get to use a unilateral. They could have sent a mutual. So here's what we did. We did not focus on commission because it's about our client, correct? So what I did is reached out to the broker, said we have an issue, and she talked to me, but then just never responded again. So that did not work. So what we but anyway, then what I did is when they sent the unilateral termination, I sent a letter. We are happy to do this for you. So just remember, and I'm just going to read it to you so that you know, and then I'm going to tell you the outcome. I said a unilateral notice to terminate purchase and sales agreement and proposed distribution of earnest money was received after the scheduled closing today for the property located at blah, 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 blah. Please share with your client there is no valid reason to accept this documentation at this time. Blank is bound to the terms and has no legal right to exit from the agreement. The purchase of the home next or their next home was in no way part of the binding sales agreement. This gentleman had been turned down for his loan, but they didn't put it in as a special step. The contract is still in place, and the seller will be in breach at 11/59/6/17/22, the same day that I sent this out, the same day they didn't show up. At such time, our clients will decide how they wish to proceed and work through the agents, blank and blank, to take appropriate action. Have I threatened them in any way?
No.
No, but did I say that we're going to take action? Yes. It's important to note that the purchase and sales agreement is still in place, so they can't turn around and put it back on the market unless we release it. And I said it's still in place and the property cannot be placed back on the market. Thank you for your time. So this went out on Friday afternoon. Yesterday, I got an email from the agent that said the seller has decided to move forward and will close this week.
So gracious.
So great.
So, you know, so what we don't want to do is make things worse by threatening. We don't want to talk about commissions because that's not our goal. Our goal is to have that thing, the client satisfied and closed. And that's, so if you've got a situation like that, please let me know and I'm happy to respond accordingly and reach out.
So the buyer, how would the buyer, would it cost money for the buyer because of the loan?
Well, that was
And
already.
who's paying for that?
Well, that was already a discussion. The first thing I asked our agent, is how long is their lock good through? Their lock is good through next Thursday, or this Thursday now. So they're closing Thursday. So we checked that as well. So there's certain things, because I've been on the finance side, I know to be aware of what our latitude is, and so we handle that as well. So
Can you
it's not costing
can you
them.
imagine if it wasn't the case?
No, I know, and that was a discussion verbally with that other broker.
Right, and that's just part of the scenario. Did they hire a moving van? Did they move out of an apartment? Now they'll be homeless. How much does it cost for them to
lots
redeem?
of things.
Right, so,
Now, did they hire a moving van? No, they were giving the seller 60 days. So that wasn't, so we have to know what's going on so that we're talking correctly. We know what points to make.
What happens if they didn't, I mean, if they still went forward and said we're not closing, like what
Then
happens?
Well, then what happens
I mean,
is
legally
that the
or-
buyer could take them to small claims.
Okay.
That's really what happens, because you don't want to get attorneys involved.
No.
It costs you more. So small claims court is for 15,000 or less.
When you sue in their performance?
What's that?
When you want to sue them for
Well, you can. Keep in mind, every time you get an attorney involved, unless you know how to do it, or not you don't give them advice. You tell them to seek legal advice. But can you go to small claims court and be successful without an attorney? Absolutely, you can. I've done it.
What do you do if you're on the other side of it and you're the seller's agent?
Well, then you present this offer and then you say, here's what could happen. You need to seek legal advice. Yeah.
How do you protect the client in temporary occupancy?
Well, there you go. I mean, the only thing that's going to protect them possibly is to have gotten a deposit that goes to so we don't hold deposits. Or you can make the daily so high that they want to move out quickly. Now, what if they don't? Then you got to go to small claims court to collect it. That's the risk. But what I would say is, if you got a buyer, is to understand what that seller is doing. So if that seller has already bought a house and they've already closed on it, do you have to worry that they decide? Probably not. So ask those questions. Ask and understand what's behind all this.
I think I would like to raise what happened with my situation, a little bit similar to what I'm just saying, and just say to you how crazy can be a seller. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my seller decided that, got into a binding agreement with the buyer, and guess what? A week later, the next door house sold for $75,000 more. So he did whatever he could possibly do in order to get rid of this buyer, which the buyer said, hey, I'm getting a great price, why should I leave, right? It made our life, made the buyer's agent crazy. Aaron needed to come in to check during due diligence. I want to make sure that everybody's vaccinated and I want to see their license, things of that nature. He did had, my seller did had a temporary occupancy. But remember, he doesn't want to sell the house and he wants to make the buyer life miserable. We did go to closing. The buyer had to get an attorney in order to let him know that he cannot just not show up, because he said, I'm not showing up. Okay, so as we got to closing, all right, very nice and dandy. Temporary occupancy, a week before the end of temporary occupancy, he sends an email to the owner of the house, the buyer, and says to him, by the way, the following items were not in the disclosure, and therefore I am taking them. Blinds, shower head, shower head, micro oven that was built in. And says in that email, dear Mr. Buyer, well, now he's the owner of the house, this is how much it's gonna cost you, $2,500. And states it in an email.
What was the worst part about this seller?
Oh, the worst part about the seller? You know, everything. I mean, Michelle knows the whole story.
But they were supposedly friends.
Oh, they were supposedly friends.
With the buyer and the seller?
With the buyer.
And so she
They
was
met
just
at
gonna
a
be
party.
kind of more of a transactional agent. Didn't work. did it?
Didn't work for being a transaction.
Michelle, well done on that. Well done on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what we need, is somebody to come in and be a good diplomat.
Well, we will do it. Jim does it all the time, I do it.
Anytime the seller remains in that closing is always a problem.
Potential.
Potential, but thank you. So, because anytime they leave in, because it's like, how are you gonna get them out? Guys, and I get that, but you know what the good news is? We rarely have to get them out. Rarely. Now, the thing that she didn't talk about, I'm gonna talk about it, because I'm too later, is that the agent wanted us to legally go after the commission soon.
Sorry, repeat that?
Huh?
Repeat that, please?
Our agent wanted to go after them and sue the commission. And our answer is, we don't sue the commission. And then so that does not feel like, and this person I have got a great relationship, we talked about this yesterday. And I said, well, we don't sue the commission. The reason we don't is that there's an agent here and our youth training, which you can go talk about it. She decided to do that. And it cost her about $50,000 or $60,000 to sue for a $25,000 commission. Couldn't get out of it. And we also paid $20,000 to $30,000. So guys, just because you say, let's just sue them and have some fun, well, guys, they're in there. They can sue you personally. Now, will they win? Who knows, guys? Do we have a lot of reasons? Sure we do, guys. The guys as a team, I gotta go, that's not worth the risk. Because guys, you can't say, I'm sorry, I won't stop right now, because it won't stop. Because you think that attorney on the side wants to stop this thing and stop the money coming in the front door? No, they can, let's have some more depositions. Come on, we want to know about your childhood. Why you got out and kicked out of 3rd grade?
And Jim, may I follow up? And he's absolutely correct. As I said, and I've seen some agents take it upon themselves to send a letter that said, we'll sue for commission. Guess what? We are not suing for commission because we know what the ramifications are. So,
and you can't sue for commission, y'all cannot, or I can.
So, in this case, we wanted level heads to prevail, and that's how.
But I think that part of what I experience is when a seller actually, the difficulties that I had, we have a binding contract, and the seller personally tells me that I'm going to make the buyer's life miserable. Miserable. The buyer's agent, the nicest agent ever. not from Keller Williams, but couldn't be nicer. She cries, she calls me and she's crying in tears, and she says, I don't understand what is the issue today. And you know what, I finally said to her, I mean, it just like, you know, it's like, do I tell her that he's gonna make your life miserable? I mean, they obviously understood. I mean, she says to me, she says, well, I guess he wants to get rid of us because the house next door sold for $75,000 more, and I said, that's pretty much correct. So where's our responsibility to the seller on one hand, it being just awful, to a buyer who's doing all the things it needs to buy the book?
We don't get in the middle of a deal, guys, willing buyer, willing seller. If you lose either one of those, guess what? You're less something. As long as you got a willing buyer and willing seller, even if the other agent's total idiots, if you have a willing buyer and willing seller, can you either get things worked out?
Yeah.
A lot of times you all just step in and make it happen, which I love about you guys. All right, guys, so Liz Carr, her dad and mom are good friends of mine. We've known each other for a long time. We used to work together in a small company exactly like them. So Liz has grown up with the stats. She's grown up, she sees them, she thinks that way. So I thought maybe she'd want to come to ALC, of course, and just spend a little time talking about, she understands them better than I do by far. Before she comes up to, okay, if I ask you today, how do you see the market? What would y'all say right now? Jill, how do you see the market right now?
Changing.
Okay, changing, I like that word, all right. What do you think changing?
It's slowing down, and going back to more of a 2019.
I've heard that several times ago. 2019 was one of our best years ever.
Seller's market, still a seller's market.
So love that, okay? Who else? Anybody have something they want to share? How do you see the market? Anybody? You wish y'all know?
I think we definitely see buyers, serious buyers coming into our market. 100%, they are serious buyers.
It is evolving.
Which is positive.
Very positive. Guys, would you love to have rather than a 4 or 5 day supply of houses, maybe a month supply of houses? Wouldn't it be nice? And to get to a level market by ourselves, how many months supply do we need? 6 months. And that 6 months is a long time. Guys, this is actually a good thing. It doesn't feel good right now. And guys, I remember at our ALC meeting a couple weeks ago, what I felt there was, ALC was saying, we're tired. We're tired. We're tired of writing 6 and 7 offers for the same buyer. Some of them were trying to get me.
Tell them to write a check.
I know.
Make that check out.
I think that I would rather be with buyers in this market where you can choose a little bit versus putting offers and offers and offers and multiple offers and having them just be discouraged.
Liz, come on up.
Okay.
And give us some wisdom, what you see out there right now.
Very high-tech paper. How do you want me to? I can sit here. Okay. Hey, so I just wanted to go through, first of all, who knows what the MMO is?
Monthly marketing
Say it one more time.
Who knows what the MMO is? Yeah, someone answered. Anyway, okay, so it's our metro market overview, and it was designed to be an interim set of data for us to use in between quarterly reports. And for those that don't know, we have stats so for new people, quarterly and monthly stats that we all get, just Keller Williams only, by Chartmaster Services, which yes, and used to be a part of. And it's really, really helpful. It's a great tool. The quarterly can be a bit, not stale, but we're in a changing market now. So the monthly is really, really good to use right now. So we get this about 7 to 9 days into the next month, you'll get the latest monthly report. So I just wanted to be sure everyone's aware you have it, how to use it, and my favorite charts, because it's going to be really helpful in the coming months as we have these rate increases and panic amongst clients thinking the world is ending. We can use this to show them what's actually happening. And it's still a little bit rear view mirror because we just, unless you're looking at today's, this is the closest we can get to something fresh and new. So this is May, and first of all, what objections or concerns are y'all hearing right now with the latest jump in rates from buyers or sellers? Is anyone getting freakouts?
Buyers can't find what they like at the current price point. Now that their buying power's gone down, they really, really can't find what they like.
Yeah.
So because the prices have gone up.
Telling me that let's go on at a lower price.
You do? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we did. And guess what? I was like, we'll probably get multiple offers over.
Yeah.
We did not.
It did not. Okay. Okay.
And Chrissy, do you find the buyers are well educated? And I don't know the answer to this question, but had they asked the mortgage officer, my payment was $1,165, but the new rate's only gonna be $1,423. Are they well informed with just listening to what's out there in the media? Is that a question?
Well, having a conversation, if you're only approved up to 400, now with interest rates higher, with the loan to value ratios, and you guys speak that better, now you can only buy the 350. They didn't love what they found at 400, now we're having a hard time trying to convince them that something at 350 looks pretty.
And mine are twofold. Mine are just like that, where they're at 475 and they can't find anything that they like at 475, and now they have to look lower. And so they, at the highest buying power, they couldn't find anything quality, and now they have to look less in order to keep the same payment. And then I have others who their rates are, because of the 1% increase, it went up $300. And it's just too much.
That's a lot of
That's reality.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
It is. I just had a seller who's been unfortunately taking a long time to get ready, so we've missed the frenzied market. Maybe, we don't know. We're gonna find out soon. And now he's listening to the news and he's basically like, well, now my house is never gonna sell. It's not gonna sell, and he's jumping off a bridge because he thinks the world is ending because the rates went up and no one's gonna buy. So that's what I've heard. And buyers are hopeful that they have more of a shot at getting homes, which hopefully will be the case. Hopefully we'll see more price reductions from the buyer's perspective. That's hopeful, not for our sellers, but these things I'm looking at on a month-to-month basis to see where those changes are gonna start happening, if they're gonna change. So that's kind of what I was curious about what you're hearing, because I'm hearing, crazy. I'm looking at the news and losing my mind. So we just want to bring some facts to the scenario to you for both buyers and sellers. So these charts are awesome for that. Don't go through all of them. I'm going to go through and skim over some that you can pick and choose. If I were you, I would find one chart, every month to look at every month, the same one consistently, and then get in that way. Because if you start off looking at every single one, you'll be, it'll be hard to use. Yeah.
I like this because it gives you a more local focused view to be able to talk knowledgeably to the clients, as opposed to the national view that really doesn't affect our market, the Atlanta market, or specifically Cobb County market.
Exactly.
So this will help you to be able to speak intelligently to those clients that are on the fence.
Exactly.
Because we have local numbers, real numbers.
Right, and that is what's useful. So I'm just going to go through some and talk about my favorite ones. Okay, this first one is an overview. This is the original one that they did by price point. You've got actives, pendings, faileds, must supply, and closed. And it shows what, kind of what's happened with each one. I don't even look at this one anymore because now they've added price reduced information, which is really great. This is a great thing to monitor now because you can see the number of actives, how many now are being price reduced, and it goes to the end of the month. So this is through May 31st.
Can you zoom that in a little bit so that it's bigger?
I'm sorry?
Can you zoom it in so that it's bigger? Did my eyes that bad?
No, I can't.
No, it's just blurry.
Yeah, much better.
Yes. This one's slideshow.
I don't know if it'll be that.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay. I can just click on the chart. That's cool. Thank you. Okay, so you can look at, so right now what I'm looking at is actives and pendings. Because closed, that's great data, but it's a little bit rearview mirror because those were negotiated a couple of months ago, and we want to see how it's changing now. So we can show our buyers and sellers the current stuff. So I'm looking at actives and pendings. I'm looking at And this is detached, we have the same set for condos and townhouses, so I'm not gonna go through those, just know you have the same information for attached. Okay, so then I went back and looked at April versus May. And so when you look at April actives, we are up, and check my math. May, we've got 4,000, no, it's not on this screen.
Is this Metro Atlanta?
Metro Atlanta, yes.
It's 5 counties, right, Liz? Is that?
They're
what
40,
it's the bigger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we used to be 41 areas, but now the areas are gone, so they've created new area numbers so they can pull the data. That's a whole nother story. So number of actives as of the end of May was 4,902. Just to give a comparison, April, we were at 4,208. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. 4,292. So they've come up a bit. Actives have popped up a little bit. And then how many price reduced? Now we've got 33.4% of current actives had price reductions. And 20.
Where do you see that?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Hold on.
do you not see it?
Total at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Total at the bottom?
Right there. Yeah. Do you see it?
No.
So that number, 33, and that's active. So I'm looking at the totals, yes. I'm not looking at per price, because you can look at what it's doing for the price ranges that apply to your clients. But I'm just looking at totals right now.
So in April, what was the number?
So April was 28.6%. So you've got 4.8 percentage point increase from one month to the next. So those are the things I use this one for. Where is it going? You can download and save the previous MMOs and compare that way as well. That's how I would use this. Yeah.
Can we access an archive in case we forgot to download a year ago's report? Probably can we do that?
Yeah, and a lot of these do compare to the previous year.
It just has May.
Oh, this one does. Yeah, this one
Like
does.
what's currently uploaded in the Dropbox is just the one.
Right, that's right. But some of the charts will refer back to the same time last year. But for this one, yeah, we probably.
We need to have like April in there so that we can do what they're doing.
Yeah, that could probably, I can't speak for them, but I was like, I don't know.
Kimberly, you email them out, don't you, every month?
Yes.
So they're probably not-
I mean,
But
I
they
download
they
and keep mine.
update, the link updates.
It does, yeah, and y'all can't keep
The newest, yeah.
there, but if there's a specific, if you want that information, I'm sure I can get it, and pass it on. Okay, the median days on market, and it just goes across, so the actives and pendings are what I'm looking at. Let's see, what else did I pull from April to May? So days on market for actives in May were 26 days, and in April, they were 19. So there's a lengthening there, and again, this is overall, so some price ranges won't be as dramatic. But this is, again, you can go in and look and compare and tell your clients what you're seeing. Again, not huge dramatic increases, but it's a sign that things are, changing a bit. Let's see, pendings in May were 7,269, and in April they were 7,643. So it's down a bit in May for pendings. Nothing earth-shattering, but these are just the things to track each month. This is how you can look at it. And again, closings actually were up 4,847 in May, 4,208 in April.
What
So-
was the price reduction on pending, on reduced pending?
Between April and May, I didn't
It
pull
says
that.
15.7 here.
Right, and I don't have April up for this. I just pulled the actives, the differences for actives and pendings, but I didn't. But I can go back and look and let you know that for April. But I don't have it up today.
And the sole percentage price reduced, that means how many is the meaning of that is how many from the ones that have been sold, their price was reduced?
Correct, yes. So how many sellers had to price reduce before they closed? Yep, yep. And then it shows the repercussions for that, and yeah.
Sorry.
Where does it say
So that number, which is 33%, right, is 29%-ish.
Yeah, 28.6%.
I don't think anybody in here would say that's how it felt. So did you dig deeper to see it's like where's that coming from? Cause in that middle row, like, everybody was selling above list price, nobody was selling, nobody was having a reduced price, the average listed sale price was like 102 in almost every section, so
Yeah.
where?
I don't know, I mean, they're pulling it straight from FMLS and from data from that, and it is all of the areas, so keep that in mind, there are gonna be some areas that
All
are
areas
gonna
and
pull
all price
that.
points.
Yeah, so you can drill down, I'm gonna show you, they're interactive, so you can pull your specific areas. But that's how I would use this chart, to look at pendings and actives right now with price reductions. Okay, this is an example of the interactive. I'm not gonna go through these, just know that you can put in area and price ranges. And you double click on the chart right here, double click, and then it will pop up a drop down menu here and you can put in your area. And obviously red is worse and green is better from the year before. These are comparing to last year. So, and the perspective is really from the seller's perspective, because if median days on market goes up, that's obviously, not good for sellers, but for buyers it is, because you've got more time. So just be aware of what you're looking at and how you're comparing it. This one you can, use area and price range and compare. And so again, these are great for both buyers and sellers. And the whole thing is to set expectations for everyone. Sellers are thinking they can still get top dollar and get 15 offers, they may not be able to anymore. So we just want to be sure that we're showing them what's actually happening, so they don't go in expecting that and they're angry when they only get 5. So we want to be sure to do that. And for buyers, we want to show that there are some more opportunities for them to get in the door with offers. So.
And isn't that the one that shows your days on market for those who have sold? It might have been only 8 days. Those who are under contract, maybe it's 10, and those that are active, it's already showing 15. So you can show the trend that things are starting to sit a little longer.
Correct. Yes. Yes. You want to look at days on market and obviously supply and reductions. So they gave us 8 price ranges, and then they decided, I think through agent input, they decided that it was needed to break it down more and do by $100,000 increments. So that's what this one is. It's the same thing, but you've got a set for every $100,000, and the other one's a bit bigger chunks. So be aware of that too when you're looking at it. That's another interactive. Okay, so I use those all the time when there are specific areas I'm looking at, if for a specific buyer or seller. They're awesome to use. So if anyone has trouble with the Mac, let me know, because there are workarounds for that too. This one I'm starting to use. This is kind of new, but I love this one too. This is showing us how many people are selling at or above 100%. And this is a good one for us to track in coming months. It may start to change as we're potentially balancing out. And this is great for sellers who think they're going to be 110%, selling of your asking, list price. So this is a good one to track as well. And it's broken out by price. You can also put in an area, or you can keep the total. Are there any questions about this? Do y'all have any questions at all so far? Okay, I like that one a lot. This one, I come to this one only for the median sales price, because this is the only one that actually shows a median sale price on the monthly. And I like to see that it shows 19.5% higher than last year. And again, this is the whole market. This one's not able to be done by area. So I wish it were, but they're not doing that. So I just use this with, if you've got a seller and there are no good recent comps for their neighborhood. I just had one in Dunwoody, and the most recent sale was more than 6 months back. So I went and took that latest comp, which was in April of last year. I went here and I told the seller, I'm like, we're basically 20% higher than that. They're very comparable homes. So you can use it that way. But you can actually get the median sale price there for the month, which I like. So that's how I use that one. This one I don't use. You may love this one. It's a one-sheeter showing actives, pendings, closings, comparing it to last year. I just find this one to be busy. It's very handy. I'm not discouraging its use, but to show this to a client, it's a bit more difficult to look at and read and analyze. So This one I use all the time, the 6-month trend, because things change so quickly. You know, it's great to see what happened last year, but we know we're way up from last year. We know lots of changes have happened. So this one I like to look at month to month, and it lays it out for us. And well, this one actually does put the median sale price in too, and it's got the graph at the end if you just want a visual of it going up or down. So this is fantastic to use for either buyer or seller. If they have questions about where things are going, it's a good one. So
just curious, when it says active, it shows that it's getting, there's actually more listings, right? That's what's showing?
Correct, yes.
But then the other report that shows year over year, it was all red to last year. So I'm trying to figure out how those two correlate.
This one up here.
See what it says.
Is it that one or?
Active.
Let's see. Active
Yeah,
listings.
it shows all red.
I think by red, it means it's moving in the direction of a buyer's market.
Well,
Not
on that,
necessarily quote unquote worse.
Effect on
from the
sellers.
time before.
But it's using worse in the 2008
Yeah,
mindset, right? Where listings equals bad.
yes, but you're saying if there are more actives, there
I
can be
got
more
you.
actives than last year is what you're saying.
So red in this case would be a positive.
Yeah, so it means this is saying it's up from last year's.
You want more
number.
on it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really good.
It's the effect on the seller.
Should be
Yeah, I don't know, you know what, I'll find out about that, cause I'm not sure, I'm not exactly sure. I see what you're saying,
can you go back to the 6 months trend, please?
Absolutely. I wanna point something out about this one too. You know, we had big rate hikes, Reed was it, and Jeff, from March on, we've had increases in rates, right? So
Really,
like
in
dramatic,
February.
so this, you could show someone who's panicking about this latest one, well, since March, you know, our median sale prices continue to go up. And obviously it's gonna begin affecting people more, but this is just kind of the world didn't end, people didn't shut down when that happened, so this is another one to track.
So from seller perspective, right? Hey, why shouldn't I price my house in a higher price range since the median sales price went up? On the other hand, the percentage of listing that are failed is higher
Right.
in May versus April. So how do you explain that?
Good question. How would y'all explain it?
I asked the question again.
Yeah. So,
What's the
Go ahead.
question?
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
yeah, I do. So she's saying, well, this shows in May, the highest median sale price. I would say we have to be careful with this because the closed data is rear view mirror more so than the actives and pendings. So you kind of have to put it all together and you know, because those were negotiated in a hotter market, in a market where the rates weren't at 6. So I think that's how I would explain that. And that, but I mean, it's still, we're not yet seeing a big shift in price and days on market yet. But that's why it's important to keep track of this chart to see if that begins to happen.
But in her, and Shelley's question.
Yeah.
The seller's looking at the trends, the prices are going up, the sales are going down, why wouldn't I push it?
No, the
Because
sales
it's-
are
The fails
increasing.
are going up a
The
bit,
failed are
right?
increasing.
The fails
They were
are,
going down, then they're going up.
Well,
Yeah,
it
they are
went
going up a
down and
little
then
bit.
it went up slightly from 12 to 13.
Correct, to 13.8.
so the sale price, those are the ones that got it right? And so that's a representation of sellers that priced right, were adjusted and got to the closing table. The percentage failed, it may be more sellers that are just reaching for insanely high prices and they're just not making it. That's what I would say.
That's probably.
Well, and let the market drive your price up, you know,
Correct,
price
right.
conservatively, and then let the market do its work.
Right.
So that's what I would tell a seller, so that
Yes.
they're not overpricing it, because I still don't believe you can underprice a home
Right.
in this market.
You can't, but you can overprice and pay. It's gonna correct it no matter which way you go, but the painful part is if you overprice and have to come down and lose negotiation power. So it's much better to start competitively and that's hard for sellers to,
But if
when
you,
their neighbor
if you
is.
show them the chart about if they overpriced and had to take a price reduction, their
Right.
net is less as well.
Correct. And that's this chart back here. The price reduction penalty is in this one, so if they had to take a price reduction, their days on market over this far right column shows how many days on market they sat and the percentage they got of their asking. That's the punishment, that's what you show them. Say, yeah, you sold, but you overpriced, so this is where you ended up, so.
Now, was that the original list price?
Yes, the percentage of the original list price, yes.
Because I got a phone call from a seller about a month ago. He knew of me, and so they had to call me. Our price was $825. Price of the other agent was $950. The question was, why would I go with the agent at $950? What's the script?
Are they buying the house?
Huh?
Are they buying the house?
Can you repeat that?
Sell it now.
Sorry.
So our agent, who knows the area very well, she lives in the area, okay? She says $825. It is a total redo. It's a total redo, okay? It's everything, okay? The other agent said $950. And he says, why would I go with the other agent? The other agent is new and with a smaller company, but doesn't make a difference. But so the question is, what is your script for this? Because that's where you're going right now, isn't it, Liz? What's your script for that?
Just what you're saying, you can't underprice it. If it's worth $950, the market will reflect that. You'll get multiple offers that will bid it up. If you're at $950 and the actual value of the house is $825, you just won't get offers.
You're gonna sit for months.
I like that.
Right, yeah. And the listed price is different from the actual selling price.
So also bring in the pain of the cost of carrying it at $950. 2 months sitting on the market,
Yeah, but then our price reductions.
So you lose more by overpricing than underpricing or pricing at the market.
And then they can beat you up on inspection items and you're in
And now they know you're desperate.
a weaker position as for negotiations.
Yes, guys, I love to quote two people, which I did for this man. I said, you ever heard of Gary Keller? And he goes, would that be Keller? Yes, sir. You heard of Barbara Corcoran? Shark Tank. I said, she made a wonderful living and money for her sellers in New York, always underpricing the house. Because underpricing the house does what? Brings it up.
Well,
If you overprice it, what does it do?
Sit down. And neither one, the market decides it. It's not
That's
under
right.
or over. It's just trying to get as close as you can, and you want to be coming in under so that you have more negotiating power, which is hard for a lot of people. And I've had sellers that I've come up with a competitive listing price, and then the neighbors are freaked out by the list price. They think it's too low. It's like, who cares about the list price if your sale price is ending up high where it should be? So,
Right. And you don't have to tell them, you can show them.
Right.
Show them what other list prices were, and then the sale price, and they see, oh, it's going up, which is the direction they wanna go in, is that right?
exactly. And that's where this one comes into play too. You say, well, do you want to be one of these, or do you want to be, the failed or the price reduced? Okay, well, so the 6-month trend I love, and it's super easy to look at. It's super easy to show someone and explain. It's not hard, but that's a good one to keep track of month to month and see how it changes. This one used to be really helpful, but now it's all the seller's market, so it's not as effective. But it just shows that you have to get all the way up to 3 million before we're in, 3 million for a buyer's market. So when it was more balanced, that was a more important chart to me personally. Then we get into attached, all the same sets of data are attached. Then they broke it out into condo only. So you've got the same set for condos. And then, well, actually it's not as in-depth for that. They just do these 2 charts for condo and then these 2 charts for townhouses. And then they put those 2 things together in one sheet, which is great. If you've got somebody looking at townhouses and condos, you can give them the side-by-side comparison of how each is doing. So that's a great one too. And that's relatively new. I haven't used that one yet, but it's a good one. And then the last one, so FMLS used to have area numbers assigned to everything, and agents used them. I don't know, how many of y'all used them to search? I use them all the time. Yeah, so they did away with them. And so Chartmaster, everything was based on the area number. So they had to do a huge redo of everything. They had to make their own area numbers, which was quite the process. Don't ask me how they did it, but they remapped and assigned numbers to everything so that they could pull the data like they were doing before. And I think this one is more school boundary driven, I don't know. If you want more information about how they did it, let me know and I'll pass it on to them, because I don't know, but.
These are new area numbers?
They're new area numbers, so this is your reference for that. If you would like to use the interactive charts by area, then you go to this. What's that?
Is that the interactive one?
This one is not, this is your guideline for how to pick the area number for the location you need. And so if you're gonna use the interactive chart and you don't know what area number to use, you can go here for a reference.
I was gonna see if you could show how to use it.
I will, I'll click on this one.
How many charts are interactive?
And this one, there are 4 for each, like 4 for, let me go to a attached. I'll go to one with both. So you double click on this one. This is area and price range. You double click and then it does say the area. So it says Sandy Springs outside the perimeter, and there's a drop down and you can scroll through and pick your area, and then you can do the same for price point. And then you click outside of the box and it will reset it and pull that data. So they have left the location names, not just doing it by number, but anyway, there's a guide at the end. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions about those or how to find them?
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Guys, so you sort of bring this down. So what are y'all telling your people out there right now? Like Kristen, you said that some of the buyers have not been able to buy now because they can no longer afford it. Okay. What percentage of your buyers does that fit into?
40.
40. Wow. Okay. All right. That's surprising. Good. And you're out there. I get that.
Well, I mean, we might be looking at 900,000, but now, and we couldn't find anything like Angelo said. So now if I have to bump that down to 8, they're still very well qualified, great big deposits, down payments, but they weren't loving what they already had choices of.
So 40 surprising. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Right. So guys, what should our message be right now? Because guys, we're listening to the messages of the news, CNN or Fox or whatever your news is. We're listening to that message and they tell us that the sky is falling. And no one's buying houses right now. Is that true?
Exactly.
That is not true. We're still selling a whole bunch of units. That is not true.
I went to a dinner on Saturday and met a couple, and the lady asked me, how's the market? And I said, it's still strong. And she said, really? That's not what TikTok says. TikTok says that seller is a terrible market right now. I said, well, TikTok isn't where you should be getting your news from.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
And you should ask them terrible for who?
Yeah.
Are they a
Never
buyer
terrible.
or a
Yeah.
seller? It matters.
But
I'll
was the
tell-
dance good? Was the dance good to go with it?
How old were they?
I could just say for me right now is a shock when I started in July last year. And my website was getting 50 or 60 hits a day. I'm getting 3 maybe now. Also, I did Zillow and I would get probably 15 to 20 calls a day. I get 1 every 2 weeks. So that may be the norm. It's just not what I've been used to.
Yeah.
So, where I was like, well, this is easy.
Yeah, you didn't have to work as much.
Now I'm going, okay, I thought I was grinding before, I gotta really grind now. And when you were talking about percentages, I've got clients, I think the interest rate was 3.2 when they started. And now it's right close to 6.
Yep.
And they are going to the sidelines and checking out, and that's when they said, if you marry the house, or you love the house, you date the interest rate. That's very, very useful to get people to kind of put back in, is going, you know what, take a look at your budgets. Can you do an ARM, or can you look at 2 years from now going into a refinance, but you're gonna get this house now versus paying 20% more for it 2 years from now. So there's some scripting to be done, but it's different for me right now, for sure.
Can I dovetail with that with Rusty? Just like, so that idea of, so if you're right, Mr. Smith, and you think that rates are gonna come down, you're taking that piece of information, say, therefore I'm gonna wait. So the first part of that is, if you can find a house you like, you buy it now because you're gonna get, if you're right, you're gonna get that lower rate anyway. But if you're wrong, rates are gonna be higher. Either way, if you buy now, you're gonna be better off. And so I think there's just a logic thing too, and some of this stuff, and I'm sure Jeff's not here, but I mean, part of the reason that this is so dramatic is because the Federal Reserve lacked the resolve last year to do what they should have done. They should have started gradually incrementally raising short-term rates in probably the early third quarter last year, and we wouldn't have this big shock. It's like, wait until you're really, really sick to go to the doctor. The cure's going to be worse. So now everybody's freaked out. It wouldn't have freaked people out nearly as bad if it had happened gradually. So that's a piece of information you might be able to use with clients also.
This guy asked me, he said, well, then, Jim, should I wait and put my house on the market next spring?
Oh my goodness.
What's the answer?
Can you see that
Why is it
far
no?
into the future?
What is that important
no?
for you, seller?
What?
What is that important for you, seller? To
Because
wait?
I've heard that houses bring more in the spring. Is that true?
There's more competition in the spring usually too.
Exactly right. So that's interesting. And my answer to him was, well, I can tell you what the market's like right now. I can tell you, but I can't tell you what the market's like next spring. Could be better, could be worse. Who knows? Could be better because guys would do the shift. Yes, ma'am.
I have no tip theory. So just one thing I put on this week, and we were gonna go on at 650, my client said, you sure it should be 625, I've never seen these rates. So I said, I can still on paper approve 650, but let's go on at 625, because I don't wanna be wrong about it, and you're nervous about it, and if it's worth 650, I'll get bid up. So we did not get multiple offers, we got one offer. And my theory is this week in particular is a bad week because everybody's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And nobody's doing anything right now because they're all reevaluating. And then once it sinks in and they realize that the world hasn't ended and they slept on it a little bit, they will go forward next year.
That's what I was gonna say, Jim. In past markets, when there has been something happen, like a lot of news or a war or something, it makes people stop. Once they get their bearings and figure out, okay, things are not as bad, then they'll act again. But yes, I do
That's
agree
just
with
what I said.
what
Like,
you were
the
saying.
week of a war starts,
Uh-huh,
week of 9/11, I put a house on the market.
yes. Same happened at
Yeah.
9/11.
Nobody felt like buying a house
It
that
didn't
week.
go up or
No.
down, it just stopped. And once people got their bearings, figured out what they could do or what was gonna happen, then they could move forward.
Didn't it just shut down like the first few weeks of COVID too, when everybody was
Yes,
just like,
yes,
oh my
nobody
gosh,
really
what's
seen- that's-
happening? And
that's
then
what
they
I'm
started
talking
realizing,
about.
oh wow,
Right.
people wanna buy houses.
Yeah, they just need to chill and then they can act again.
Reed, is the next meeting at the end of July? Is that when they think it might go up again? Is that right?
I think most people think they are gonna raise
Right.
short-term rates again.
Yeah.
But I think some of this stuff's already baked into, the thing that, the worst thing that could happen is if last Wednesday they had announced a half a point. Because then everybody would have said, okay, the Fed's not serious about fighting inflation. At least when they went 0.75, they went, okay, this is serious because inflation is the enemy right now, right? And too much government debt, but that all ties into it. So, I mean, it looks like the Fed is communicating the message that the markets want to hear. But it'll be what, the second week in July?
So is that something we should be
I don't,
encouraging people to do something before
I
that,
think
or?
for one thing, tell people to quit listening to the news.
Yeah, well, I did that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But, no, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I don't think that's gonna move mortgage rates, not like what's happened previously. We may see rates stabilize a bit, not go back down necessarily right now, but stabilize. That's what most people are thinking. I mean, who knows, right?
But Reed, where are you seeing the bond market? Because that's ultimately what's gonna be our driver, it doesn't matter what the Fed does.
That is what mortgage rates come off of.
Exactly.
That's where you're going, and it's stabilized a bit right now. And as long as there's as long as the Fed keeps saying, we're serious about fighting inflation, it's gonna be stable. I mean, there could be all sorts of things that move the bond market, the war in Ukraine spreads, right? But sometimes that actually helps because then if there's poor investments in other parts of the world, the US economy becomes the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry. You guys remember, you guys, not you girls, when you're in college, and you came in and you wanted to go out, and you're, crap, I didn't do laundry. And you start going through the laundry going, this is the cleanest one, I'm gonna wear this one. Well, maybe everything's bad options, but the US bonds are less bad, right? So.
Lesser of evils.
Yeah.
You guys, the analogy was that I was just thinking about is that I would like to lose 20 pounds right now because my weight keeps going up because I keep eating what I should eat. And the reason I don't want to do it is I don't want the pain that's going to take to do that. The pain of not eating what I want to eat, not drinking what I want to drink. But if I did it and got on it, the results are going to be what? Fabulous. And I feel better, right?
Yeah.
Same thing we're going to do right now. Do we like the pain of the market slowing down, of realizing there's fewer buyers out there right now in houses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? But once we get through this and then slow the market down some, it's going to be good for all of us. Because the market needs to slow down. This thing of having 20 offers and you got to tell 19 agents why their offer did not work, that's painful, isn't it? And if you don't tell them what they do, they call Michelle and say, Michelle, Yvette never presented my offer. Well, yeah, she did too. Well, no, she didn't. I don't think she presented my offer. So that's the pain. And then you're the pain of telling your buyer, guess what? Lost another one. So guys, we have got to slow that down. This is a good thing. And you will not hear one ding-dang reporter saying it that way.
That's right.
Oh my God, the sky is falling. We're not going to sell any more houses. It's going to be awful. No one can afford houses anymore. Guys, it is a good thing what's going on right now. It's painful, isn't it? It's painful. Y'all disagree?
It's temporary.
Huh? So are we going to sell real estate this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly right. Now, if you're an average age and not working, you're not going to sell real estate this year. If you're not working. For the ones that are working, you're going to do well. The ones that are not working, that's just what it's going to be. Y'all disagree with me on that? It's going to be harder.
I think the hard part is for the people that just barely could qualify before.
That's
That's the
right.
thing that bothers
I
me.
get
It's
that.
like, man, they were teed up and ready to go. They were so excited. And now all of a sudden, like you said, they barely qualified at 400. And you guys, in our area, that's not some big Mac Daddy house. And now all of a sudden they can't qualify for that. And there's nothing in the, whatever the number is they qualify for now. That's tough.
What would you say, just make up a number statistically, what would you say are being impacted by that? I mean, how considerable is 500,000 or less?
Our pre-approvals so far, we haven't had a lot of effect on that because, I mean, it seems like a lot of people were within their means. They had a little room on their debt to income ratio, but I mean, I'm doing business with most of y'all. So, I mean, that's a different group of people. There's people in other areas that it's very disappointing for them right now. And the problem is that renting is not a great option many times now too. I mean, I got some compassion. I don't know how to fix that for people sometimes that I want to. But again, I guess we just have to serve the people that come to us, right? And try to keep an eye out for how to help somebody else.
Well, they're paying 100% interest if they're renting.
That is a true statement.
So if 6 bothers them.
There's another way to word that. We need to figure out another. I've seen that on the internet, and my first thought when I saw it was, well, that make sense, and then I figured out what they're talking about. We got to figure out a better way to word that because what you're saying is accurate, but it's not interest.
Right.
So I don't know. 100% of your rent is going to somebody else. I don't know what the right way to word that.
Just as I was listening to everybody, it was like I've got a couple. They're in their 20s and they got maybe a 2-year-old, and they're looking for 3,000 square feet with 4 bathrooms. Well, now they're priced out of what they can afford. I'm hoping that it will humble some folks and realize that, that 2-bedroom or that 3-bath, 2-bedroom, or vice versa. I think it might be good for us. Sometimes bad things humble us and correct our behaviors. I'm hoping that even if this doesn't happen, then that might happen, which will still stimulate us.
Yep.
But we need these sellers to present better products. There's a lot of garbage out there.
There is.
People that have to spend more money and the interest rates and bid up because of multiple offers and still get a yucky house. It's a house,
I
but
made
they're
my
gonna
seller
have to
stage.
put money
last
into the property in order to make it decent.
Yeah.
It's discouraging for a lot of buyers.
Right, in other words, it's not the 4-3. It's a
It's the
3-2,
3-2.
but it's neat and clean.
Yeah.
Guys, it still tickles me that, our house in Virginia, my father built, there was time 3 boys, mom and dad living there, and we had 1 bathroom.
Yep.
I don't remember standing in line for bathroom.
Grew up like this.
I remember that, but now, you expect my child to share a bathroom with her sister?
Oh my God.
Really?
One thing.
I don't wanna share a bathroom with my child.
We did though, Amanda, we
Well,
did.
you know, when I bought my first house, the rates were 14.5, just like Reed said. So what ended up happening, we qualified certainly for less. We couldn't stay in Buckhead where we were living at the time. We couldn't stay at Sandy Spring, so we had to move all the way out to East Town. And you know, who would know at that time? So sometimes it's an adjustment of where it's at, and it's not that it was bad. It was great for us. And 40 years later, look, big deal.
Now you're going to the beach.
Now I'm going to be, thanks to moving east, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, Amanda.
Something my coach, we talked about last week was treating this like COVID and doing care calls now and having like a list of resources because people are scared, you know, and so like we are combating the media and TikTok and like everything else. So it's like having a list of resources. It's like, oh, you're worried about keeping your lights on. Like, okay, let's talk about it. You know, here's a resource you can use. You don't know if you have money for food this week because, you know, my grocery bill looks like my Costco bill, you know, and my Costco bill looks like my mortgage. So it's like, you know, things are changing, I think, for the average person. And so people are nervous and they are scared and they will adjust and they will adapt and we all will. But for us to be able to say like, hey, but I'm here for you and I'm not asking you for anything in the in-between, you know.
Is the recession coming?
Yeah.
We're in it.
started.
Ryan?
So we're in.
Yeah. Ren? And so someone explain to me what it means that we're in a recession. Someone tell me, we've got.
GDP is negative for 2 sessions.
What does that mean to, not necessarily me, but what does that mean to the average buyer or the average person in the average house? What does that mean to them?
I think it's more so what you're paying versus what you're making, and what that delta is, and how hard it would be to make it up, and how long it would take to make it up. You're paying $5 for a gallon of milk, but you're making $11 an hour, but you're accustomed to paying $3 a gallon of milk. You were in a recession before it ever indicates you're in a recession. Because your middle of the road people, your blue collar workers are suffering probably the most. Yeah, that's arguably they're suffering.
And they are some of that.
They are indeed.
Because when I fill up my car right now, it's $80. I can use high tip, $80. $80. And for me, I'm okay with that. I can do that right now. I can do it. But I agree with the mom that says, your dad says, so do I fill up my car with gas or do I buy groceries? Which one I do. And guys, people are having to choose right now. Having to choose. And maybe some of y'all have to choose right now. I mean, vacation, you kidding me? Yeah. Delta has already flown more people this year than it flew all last year. Delta's already flown more people this year than it flew all last year.
I do see when I've done open houses the past few weeks, I definitely hear people saying, I have 2 jobs.
Yes.
And these are higher price range, meaning that they work remotely, not blue collar, I mean, they work remotely and they have 2 jobs. And I heard it numerous times and I was pretty shocked.
But a lot of this is lifestyle too.
What do you say?
Correct.
You're working to support a lifestyle, not working to survive. And the people who are working to survive are being the ones hit and affected harder with the recession.
Correct.
The luxuries we can let go, but gas or food, those are real life decisions.
It's real out there, and I get that. Inflation is happening. Remember, in the shift, Gary says 2 things happen. One, that makes most markets shift. Inflation and interest rates going up. Are we doing both those right now?
Yes.
That's weird class we had to shift because both those things are happening right now. And only way to slow it down is do what? Raise interest rates. I don't know the way, y'all. It's just.
I would go back to what Rusty said, that the expectation need to be, instead of buying 4 bathrooms, you're gonna buy just 2 bathrooms and have them realize there's nothing wrong with them living in 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
I think that comes, like you said, after the shock wears off. And you
Yes.
say, okay, common sense.
Well, but
Right.
if the charts show that that house that they don't wanna buy will still appreciate. And if the goal is to get back to a balanced market, Jim, it doesn't sound like a bad thing to me.
That's not bad. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, is that what's happening right now is not bad. It's when y'all think the sky's falling, but it's not bad. Now, is it going to weed out some agents that probably shouldn't be in our business? Is that a good thing? Yes.
Don't scare people with butting in.
But it's also gonna weed out some agents that should be in our business.
It could be that also. But a lot of times they're the ones, Amanda, that don't want to do the activities that create the results.
We're gonna weed out those
What'd you
buyers
say?
that just kick the
But if we're
tires.
doing everything you can,
Overextended
still don't take
themselves
contracts.
and now are going, oh crap, crap.
What do you do? Great question. What do you do? Everything that you can do just to not get results. What do y'all say to that?
Do something else. That's the definition of insanity.
Right.
To answer your question, I know these agencies pretty well, most of them. And a lot of them started out to where they ran, and it did not work.
Hit a
I'm
wall.
running. And I said, well, then let's try this way of doing business. One thing about this office is that you have multiple ways to do business here, multiple ways. And there's all kinds of ways you can do here, guys, but we have more options here than any office around us.
And coaching is key. If you're struggling or stuck, coaching is a big.
You went back to basics.
Yeah.
And it's paying off, isn't it?
It is.
How many years you been in the business?
7.
So now she went back to basics, because her business is going in the wrong direction. Now, sometimes you go back to basics. That means.
But it
guys,
takes
showing up.
time too. It doesn't happen immediately.
It doesn't happen overnight.
It
I can lose
doesn't.
my 20 pounds by the best weekend.
No.
But that's why we should show up on Monday for Power Up.
Yes.
Right,
Exactly right,
and it's
exactly
not
right.
just for the
I'm into
agents.
that.
And guys, thank you for that reminder. That's so, and I'm gonna preach to the choir right now. But guys, the ones that show up on Monday, that say, I'm gonna give them a phone, I'm gonna call my database, I'm gonna call them and say, hey, I'm doing this contest today, because I'm gonna get my broker's money, which I love to do. I'm gonna do it. Can you help me? Guys, they'll do it. And guys, you will leave with business. Oh my goodness. You will leave with business, guys. And no matter where you are, now maybe some of you go, well, Jim, I've got my regimen, I'm doing it, it works well for me. God bless you. And do that. If you're relieved generally every single day, then God, you go do it. But the rest, the other 95% of us, show up on Monday because you will leave. I'm so glad I called that person. I didn't realize that they knew people were getting ready to sell houses. So show up on Monday. Thank you for reminding me about that. Anything else? Can we give Liz a hand? So many tools out there, guys. So many tools. So just keep doing it. And so, guys, if you're in the place where you're like, Jim, it's not working for me, come see one of us and let's talk about what you're doing, what we do to make it different, guys. Because someone is out there selling real estate right now that's not even smarter, cuter, or well positioned than you are. You might sell real estate, you might sell real estate. Yes, ma'am.
I'll give a shout out to Amanda because she pointed out, because I get a zillion map emails and I just start delete because there are so many of them. But there was a really good one that came out, I think on Friday or Saturday, that there's all these free classes they're teaching about learning about trust and 1031s and recession proofing your business. And I just signed up for like
how
6
to
of them.
shift proof your listing presentation and 10 ways. I signed up for like 3 a week.
So there's some great classes, so if you didn't already delete it, or go back in your trash and pull it back out and take a look at that, because there's some amazing free classes.
Next Tuesday, there's one. It's the top 3 high impact conversations to have with your sellers, your sphere, and your buyers to explode your business.
Yeah, and the ones taking market share.
That's what number one thing you can do to change your business.
They're all online, huh?
Lead generate every single day.
But I think for like some of the COVID agents, you know, it's like we need different scripts that we've never had to learn before, you know, and so that's why I really wish we could Zoom that tomorrow, but it's okay, because we'll have another one. But, you know, I think that's why it's really important though, that like we are learning these new things because we've never had this before. Like, what do you mean I only had 10 showings on my listing? You know, like it's new and it's different, and, you know, we need our hands held a little bit through this process so that we can go off on our own and, you know, continue.
And I agree with that, man, 100%.
And I was just gonna say too, Jill just talked about her seller wanting to come in at a lower price to list, when does that ever happen? And I just had someone do the same thing, and that's weird, that's not typical, usually they wanna go higher, so that's a good thing. I mean, if we're educating people about, you know, the change that we're seeing, so.
Yes, ma'am.
And for our agents, we can still go back to, financial peace.
Right.
Tell them what that is real quick.
Financial Peace University, a way to eliminate debt and build wealth, strategies to be able to help change your financial future. So we were talking about bringing that to the Rawls group last year, and it kind of got tabled, but this, I think, is a really opportune time for agents to know how to tighten things up and get their budgets together and get rid of debt now while the tide is high, because once the tide is low, that's when you see who's skinny dipping.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great.
Some things we don't wanna see.
Sky's not falling. You know, the one class you get into, guys, so who get into them, talk I've been here for a long time. And Ryan is the first one to stop what he's doing to help you out. So here's what I'm saying. They'll probably give you the honest, brutal truth. It won't be sugarcoated. Sorry, Ryan. That's not him. That's not him. Call Michelle. Call me, because we want to hear the resource for you. So call and say, what would you do? Call Arthur Reed. I mean, there's so much talent here, guys. Call one of our loan people, guys. They know what to do. So there's so much talent here, but you gotta ask the questions. It's like, you don't ask the question, we don't know how to find the answers, so.
Jim, I think, especially for I'd never heard the term COVID agent. So, anyway, so I get what you're saying on that. But I think it's like when if you're having marital problems, and you're around an older couple that's been married for a long time, and when you start telling your problems and they start nodding, and you realize, oh, wait a minute, they've had the same problems I've had, and it can be okay. I think that's the same way, like, I remember, Jim, when you first came here, there was 70, 75 agents in the office. We were in the middle of, I mean, it was tough. It was hard times, and some of y'all were here then too. And we made it, not just made it, but we did good through it, right? And so, just a deep breath. This is a season. It's a part of it. There's going to be, like Jim said, there's going to be a good result. What was the alternative? Prices keep going up the way they were? That's not going to work. Something had to happen. So it's going to be all right.
I think that the perspective also needs to be that we were actually demoralizing our nation because we were founded on homeownership. And we had a massive void in our population that could no longer afford to purchase. And that's what we were built on. The point of land ownership and being a homeowner and being able to build and thrive from that. And this is more than healthy. This is more than overly needed, so this is a different perspective.
I have some buyers who are anticipating a crash and waiting for the crash.
Love it.
And I let them know historically, the market has only crashed once. And that was in 2008. Since the Great Depression, so in the last 100 years, the market only crashed once. So you could be waiting a very long time, and at the same time, interest rates are going up. So you're running a gamble of hoping for a crash to get a good deal, but interest rates are continuing to rise, and historically, there's no data to support that. So I think, again, the more facts you have about what's going on in your market, to be able to calm those fears of the news, of the scare tactics with the media, it brings more realistic perspective for them to say, you're right, that was an anomaly that has never happened throughout wars, throughout depressions, throughout anything that's happened in this country. We only had one market crash. And after that crash, within 24 months, we were thriving again. So it's not really something to anticipate.
I love the median price slide from the vision speech to show that. If you go to Gary's vision speech slides, there's one that shows median price since they've been measuring it in the 30s. And it shows 2008, and it shows that we're right back on track.
What can we find it?
If you go to KW Connect, search vision speech 2022 or 2021.
That's a good idea. Thank you for saying that.
But also ask your clients, how long do they plan on owning the house? Because if they're gonna be there for the duration, does it really matter what the market does?
Well, no, it's very, very easy to explain too. I mean, there's nothing in today's market that matches a rate or what causes a rate. It wasn't like a rate was that's what happened. Everybody knows what happened. So I mean.
One of the lenders have fixed that.
I mean, I read somewhere, I think that the average mortgage is, the credit is like 650, and back in 08 it was 500.
Actually, now, I just read yesterday, it was almost 700, the average credit score for homeowners. Equity, I mean, people, back then you had people that shouldn't have been able to finance homes that did, and they financed them with no down payment. There was no margin.
But with these 100% loans, are they bringing that back, or they put it in regulations to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
Well, I mean, the thing about that is, if the 100% financing is based on a second mortgage, let's say that Mr. Smith can't pay. That second mortgagee is not gonna foreclose, because he's gotta pay off the first. So to me, it's a different situation. It's dicey anyway, but I think it's a different situation if the 100% financing is covered by a second mortgage, because 99 times out of 100, that second mortgagee is not gonna foreclose.
And you know, the other thing that's different 2008 to 2012 is there were 100% no income, no asset verifications. Those do not exist like they did.
No, my y'all, Ken, that back in that crash, 45,000, 50,000 listings.
Yeah.
That's right.
In that neighborhood.
And
now we've got
Yes.
4,500. What's the biggest between then and now? Is that how many more people we have now? We have a lot more people. So guys, write this down. Everybody get the pencil, okay? God is not making any more property. We're gonna run a place to build houses. Y'all realize that, right?
That's why Gary
We're
said
gonna
buy land,
try
buy
it,
land, buy
and we're
land.
gonna have to build which way? That's why we're gonna have to take care of the first time home buyer. They're gonna have to, I'm sorry, you have 3 children, sorry, 2 dogs, you have to move into a condominium, because that's what you can afford. And that's how they're gonna solve this. Now, that's what Jim says, is that right? I said, what idiot would pay $5 for a cup of coffee 20 years ago? Was I an idiot? Totally, right? Now, just realize that we're running out of property. But if one of you smart people can figure out how to build houses on the ocean, you'll be a trillionaire. That's what it is. So you guys, our word gonna be, guys, we're still gonna sell houses. We're still gonna sell houses. And knowing who's out there buying and selling houses right now, that's your job to figure out.
And show them a chart. Don't tell them all the time. Show, back it up with those charts, because they're awesome. That would not be me, but yes.
Anything else? Anything else? Thank you all for staying and sharing. It's now 11:15. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your day.